Horton Hears a Who by Dr. Seuss. On the 15th of May in the jungle of Nool, in the heat of the day, in the cool of the pool, he was splashing, enjoying the jungle's great joys, when Horton the elephant, again, heard a small
They don't know you got the last one up.
noise.
We're doing it again.
I didn't. I just said Horton the elephant.
Yeah.
It's not a cop-up. It just is.
Horton elephant.
Horton the elephant heard. So Horton stopped splashing. He looked towards the sound.
That's funny.
Thought Horton.
There's no one around.
Then he heard it again, just a very faint yelp, as if some tiny person were calling for help.
I'll help you.
Said Horton.
But who are you? Where?
He looked and he looked. He could see nothing there, but a small speck of dust blowing past through the air. Can you see it?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Is it not up there?
No.
Okay.
It's red, isn't it?
There it is.
Right in front of his eye.
Very small speck of
I
dust,
say,
murmured Horton.
I've never heard tell of a small speck of dust as able to yell. So you know what I think? Why, I think there must be someone on top of that small speck of dust. Some sort of creature of very small size, too small to be seen by an elephant's eyes. Some poor little person who's shaking with fear that he'll blow in a pool. He has no way to steer. I'll just have to save him, because after all, a person's a person, no matter how small.
True that. Coming from a little person. So gently and using the greatest of care, the elephant stretched his great trunk through the air, and he lifted the dust speck and carried it over and placed it down safe on a very soft clover.
Ah, that's what's red. The clover's red.
Yeah, it's not the dust.
No,
I told
the
you.
dust
It
is
was that blue bit that was floating around.
in.
Humphed a voice. 'Twas a sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said, too. Why, that speck is as small as the head of a pin. A person on that? Why, there never has been.
Mate. It's Australian. Mate.
Yeah.
They always say mate on the end of everything.
Yeah, okay.
All right, mate.
All right.
G'day, mate.
All right.
You great galah, mate?
Yeah, okay.
See? I've seen Neighbours. Believe me,
Said Horton.
I tell you sincerely, my ears are quite keen and I heard him quite clearly. I know there's a person down there, and what's more, quite likely there's 2, 3, even 4, quite likely. A family, for all that we know. A family with children just starting to grow. So please,
Horton said.
as a favour to me, try not to disturb them. Just please let them be.
Let them be. I think you're a fool,
Mate.
laughed the sour kangaroo. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, me too.
Me.
You're the biggest blame fool in the jungle of Nool. And the kangaroos plunged in the cool... Plunged even in the cool of the pool.
Mate. What a terrible splashing.
The elephant frowned.
I can't let my very small persons get drowned. I've got to protect them. I'm bigger than they.
So he plucked up the clover and hustled away. Hustle, hustle, hustle.
hustle, hustle, hustle.
There we go.
Hustle.
Through the high jungle treetops, the news quickly spread.
He talks to a suspect.
He's out of his head. Just look at him walk with that speck on that flower. And Horton walked, worrying, almost an hour.
Should I put this speck down?
Horton thought with alarm.
Not
Not that kind of alarm. Not that kind of alarm.
If I do, these small persons may come to great harm. I can't put it down, and I won't. After all, a person's a person, no matter how small.
Yeah, you wouldn't put me down, would you?
I know, but, you put me down all the time.
I don't.
Yeah, you
you
do.
liar. Pants on fire.
You're a put it down.
Pants on fire. Then Horton stopped walking. The speck voice was talking. The voice was so faint he could just barely hear it.
Speak up, please.
Said Horton. He put his ear near it. My friend,
We'll
came the
fix
voice.
it. We will mend it. Yeah, like the mice from
You're a
from
very,
Bagpuss.
very fine friend. You've helped
Bagpuss.
It's Horton, not Bagpuss.
No, they're the mice from Bagpuss. You mean
Horton gasped.
you have buildings there too?
Oh, yes, piped the voice. We most certainly do. I know, called the voice. I'm too small to be seen, but I'm mayor of a town that is friendly and clean. Our buildings to you would seem terribly small, but to us, who aren't big, they are wonderfully tall. My town is called Whoville, for I am a Who, and we Whos are all thankful and grateful to you. And Horton called back to the mayor of the town.
I know you're the mice from Bagpuss because later on you start fixing
That's not
things.
what he said.
We've read it before and got it wrong the last time.
Come on.
You're safe now, don't worry. I won't let you down.
Famous last words. But just as he spoke to the mayor of the speck, 3 big jungle monkeys climbed up Horton's neck. The Wickersham brothers came shouting.
What? This elephant's talking to who's? Who are not? There aren't any who's, and they don't have a mayor. And we're going to stop all this nonsense, so yeah.
South London monkeys. Don't mess with them.
Australians.
They snatched Horton's clover. They carried it off to a black-bottomed eagle named Vladikoff, a mighty strong eagle of very swift wing. And they said,
Will you kindly get rid of this thing?
and before the poor elephant could even speak, the eagle flew off with the flower in his beak. All that late afternoon and far into the night, that black-bottomed bird flapped his wings in fast flight. Will you stop it?
I'm trying to get the page.
Yeah, stop it. While Horton chased after with groans over stones that tattered his toenails and battered his bones, and begged. Yeah, come on, he's begging.
Please don't harm my little folks, who have as much right to live as us bigger folks do.
But far, far beyond him, that eagle kept flapping, and over his shoulder called back.
Duh, quit yapping. I fly the night through. I'm a bird. I don't mind it. And I'll have this tomorrow where you'll never find it in my Russian accent because his name is Vladivlo. Duh.
And at 6:56 the next morning, he did it. It sure was a terrible place that he hid it. He let that small clover drop somewhere inside of a great patch of clovers 100 miles wide.
But ain't that.
Sneered the bird.
But I think you will fail, duh.
And he left with a flip of his black-bottomed tail.
Flip. I'll find it.
Cried Horton.
I'll find it or bust. I shall find my friends on a small speck of dust. And
Clover by clover by clover with care, he picked up and searched them and called.
are you there?
But clover by clover by clover, he found that the one that he sought for was just not around. And by noon, poor old Horton, more dead than alive, had picked, searched and piled up 9,005.
Five.
Poor old Horton.
Not poor old one.
Then-
Not that poor little people.
Yeah, no. On through the afternoon, hour after hour, till he found them at last on the 3 millionth flower.
There's a lot of flowers.
I know,
My friends,
cried the elephant.
tell me, do tell. Are you safe? Are you sound? Are you whole? Are you well? We will fix it. We will mend it. We will.
Yeah, whatever. From down on the speck came the voice of the mayor. We've really
Fix
had trouble. Stop it. Much more than our share. When that black-bottomed birdie let go and we dropped, we landed so hard that our clocks have all stopped. Our teapots are broken, our rocking chairs smashed, and our bicycle tyres all blew up when we crashed. So Horton, please,
Will you fix it?
pleaded the voice of the mayor's. Will you stick by us rules while we're making repairs?
Of course.
Horton answered.
sounding like Bagpuss.
Yeah, go on.
Of course, I'll stick by you small folks through thin and through thick.
Poor old Who's.
Who cares?
Humped a voice. For almost 2 days we've run wild you've run wild and insisted on chatting with persons who've never existed. Such carryings on in our peaceable jungle. We've had quite enough of your bellowing bungle. And I'm here to state, snapped the big kangaroo,
In an Australian accent.
that your silly, nonsensical game is all through.
You go,
And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, me too.
mate.
They're not nice.
No,
They'd be mean to Horton.
yeah.
With the help of the Wickersham brothers and dozens of Wickersham uncles and Wickersham cousins and Wickersham in-laws whose help I've engaged, you're going to be roped and you're going to be caged. And as for your dust speck, that we shall boil in a hot, steaming kettle of hazelnut oil,
Boil it?
gasped Horton.
Oh, that you can't do. It's all full of persons. They'll prove it to you. Mr. Mayor,
Horton called.
Mr. Mayor, you've got to prove now that you really are there. So call a big meeting, get everyone out. Make every who holler, make every who shout, make every who scream. If you don't, every who is going to end up in hazelnut stew.
You don't want that. And down on the dust speck, the
Oh, look, they
scares.
fixed it. Look, they fixed everything. Look, there's nothing broken.
Well, he has been looking after them.
It didn't take long. That's because they fixed it nice.
Well,
from
whatever.
Bagpuss.
Yeah. The scared little mayor quick called a big meeting in Whoville Town Square, and his people cried loudly. They cried out in fear. We are here! We are here! We are here! We are here!
A lot of cats coming up to our door now.
The elephant smiled.
That was clear as a bell. You kangaroos surely heard that very well.
All I heard,
Mate,
snapped the big kangaroo, was the breeze and the faint sound of wind through the far distant trees. I heard no small voices, and you didn't either.
mate,
And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, me neither.
mate.
Because Australians always say mate at the end of everything. All right, mate.
You've already explained
G'day,
that.
mate. No, that was the last one we...
No,
that's the video we
You did it on
deleted.
this one as well.
No, I
You did it on
didn't.
this one. You did.
Did I?
Did, yeah.
I thought we did it on the one we deleted.
Oh dear, short-term memory loss. Bless.
Australians say mate on the end of everything they say.
Do they?
Yeah.
Really? You ready?
Grab him
They shouted.
and cage the big dope. Lasso his stomach with 10 miles of rope. Tie the knot so tight he'll never shake loose. Then dunk that young speck in beetle-nut
juice. Horton fought back with great vigour and vim.
That used to be called Jif.
Whatever. You're showing your age now, love. But the Wickersham gang was too many for him. They beat him. They mauled him. They started to haul him into his cage, but he managed to call to the mayor.
Don't give up. I believe in you all. A person's a person, no matter how small. And you very small portions will not have to die if you make yourselves heard. So come on, now, and try.
The mayor grabbed a tom-tom.
Sat-nav.
No. Different tom-tom.
No, sat-nav.
No, different tom-tom, like a drum.
No, he's going to throw it at him.
Whatever. He started to smack it. Not throw it. Smack it.
Oh, hang on. Other brands of sat-nav are available.
Okay. And all over Whoville, they whooped up a racket. They rattled tin kettles. They beat on brass pans, on garbage pail tops and old cranberry cans. They blew on bazookas and blasted great toots on clarinets, umpas and bumpas and flutes.
Oompa, oompa, stick it up your jumper.
I think he is doing.
Which one's an oompa?
I don't know.
Is that an oompa?
It could be.
Or is that an oompa?
I don't really know. One's a bumper, one's an umper. Great gusts of loud racket rang high through the air. They rattled and shook the whole sky, and the mayor called up through the howling mad hullabaloo. Hey, Horton, how's this? Is our sound coming through? And Horton called back.
I can hear you just fine, but the kangaroo's ears aren't as strong, quite as mine. They don't hear a thing. Are you sure all your boys are doing their best? Are they all making noise? Are you sure every who down in Whoville is working? Quick, look through your town. Is there anyone shirking?
Shirking?
Oh dear.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that Vlad again?
It's out there. Deal with it.
Yeah. Through the town rushed the mayor from the east to the west, but everyone seemed to be doing his best. Everyone seemed to be yapping or yipping. Everyone seemed to be beeping or bipping. But it wasn't enough, all this ruckus and roar. He had to find someone to help him make more. He raced through each building. He searched floor to floor.
12J is always a bad place.
Is it?
Yeah, they never join in.
And just as he felt he was getting nowhere and almost about to give up in despair, he suddenly burst through a door, and that mayor discovered one shirker quite hidden away in the Fairfax apartments. Apartment 12.
I told you, them lot in 12J, they're all the same.
Yeah. Very small shirker named Jojo was standing and bouncing a yo-yo. Not making a sound, not yip, not a chirp. And the mayor rushed inside and he grabbed the young twerp.
Twerp.
There he is, twerp.
Yeah. It's like a dance.
Yeah. Other one, that is.
Huh.
And he climbed with the lad up the Eiffelberg Tower. This, cried the mayor, is your town's darkest hour. The time for all who's who have blood that is red to come to the aid of their country, he said. We've got to make noises in greater amounts, so open your mouth, lad, for every voice counts. Thus he spoke as he climbed. When they got to the top, the lad cleared his throat and he shouted out, Yop!
Other brands of flavoured milk are available.
And that yop, that one small extra yop, put it over. Finally, at last, from the speck on that clover, their voices were heard. They rang out clear and clean, and the elephant smiled.
Do you see what I mean? They've proved they are persons, no matter how small, and their whole world was saved by the smallest of all.
How true,
Mate.
yes, how true,
Mate,
said the big kangaroo.
you're regular.
And from now on, you know what I'm planning to do? From now on, I'm going to protect them with you.
Mate,
And the young kangaroo in her pouch, wrong voice, and the young kangaroo in her
That's
pouch
better. Narrator's voice.
said, Me too.
mate.
From sun in the summer, from rain when it's fallish, I'm going to protect them, no matter how smallish.
Mate.
The end.